Unless you've been living under a rock for the last few days, you will have now known that 18C Express Edition on Windows has just been released. Yes, it was a little while coming, but we got there and it's out now, and hopefully subsequent releases for Windows will come out faster. Having done a few demos on a Linux virtual machine running on my Windows machine here to see how XE sort of stacks up, I thought I'd give the native version a go. Let's see how the Windows version holds up as well. The benchmark we were doing on my Linux VM for 18C Express Edition was seeing how fast we could crank out application express pages. In fact, we were using the Ask Tom application to see how fast we could serve up application express pages. I thought I'd go something perhaps you could call a bit more traditional for this one, and that is we'll use the Swingbench benchmarking tool. It's a classic Java application running a typical Java application that would do order entry scenarios. So we're doing transaction volume work, etc. Swingbench was written by Dom Giles, and you can download it from the link I'll put in the description. It's very easy to set up, but I'll go through the order entry setup and actually running the benchmark here in the video so you can see how to set up Swingbench for any database, but also how Oracle XE handled the Swingbench load. Just to prove there's no smoke and mirrors, and as you can see, there's nothing up my sleeves. I don't have sleeves, typical IT polo gear. I'm not using anything fancy. I'm using my home-based PC. I've done a totally default installation of Express Edition, which I've got a video in the description you can see on that. Just clicking all the defaults, it's gone straight onto the system partition. It's a home PC, 1 CPU, 16 gig of RAM. It's the kind of thing that you could buy off the shelf. This one cost me just under $1,000 Australian. So it's stock standard PC, and we're going to see how Express Edition handles the Swingbench benchmark. The only thing I have done is I resized the user's table space up such that the auto extend process wouldn't get in the way of our benchmarking. Once you've downloaded Swingbench and unzipped it, all you have to do is double click on the order entry benchmark and follow the prompts. The only thing I'm really changing is the connection string to connect to my pluggable database in my Express Edition, and entering the system or sysdba password such that it can create the necessary objects. I'm not going to create a table space. I'm going to reuse the user's table space and just use the standard SOE user that comes with the Swingbench benchmark for order entry. Password the same, nothing spectacular here. And because it's Express Edition, which does have limits on the storage, I'm going to use just a 1 gigabyte size for the benchmark. I'm also going to use parallelism of just 1, really so I can see how fast single-threaded performance can go under Express Edition. It's now chugging away, loading up the various objects, and I have to admit, I'm very impressed even at this stage with the ability for bulk insertion of rows handled by Express Edition. You can see there it's literally doing tens of thousands of rows per second depending on the tables that are being inserted. So it's very impressive and very promising even at this stage that Express Edition is going to handle some very hefty workloads. Assuming all goes well, you'll see a report at the end which shows you all the objects that are being created, and now we're ready to crank up Swingbench to see just how much load we can throw at Express Edition on Windows. In the same winbin directory where you found the order entry setup script, there's a swingbench.batch file, and that's the thing that fires up Swingbench. I just type in the username, the password, and the connect string for my local XE pluggable database. And the only things I'm really going to change here are I'm not going to run the warehouse queries because, let's face it, you'll never use Express Edition for a warehouse because it doesn't have the storage capacity. But I'll leave everything else as is. And I've picked 24 for the number of user sessions. There was absolutely no science behind that. I just thought I'll go with 24, and in reality, Express Edition is going to throttle back the maximum amount of concurrent load anyway, but I chose something that's easily high enough to work my machine such that it'll reach the limits of Express Edition before it reaches the limits of the server hardware. We click go and we're off and running. Straight away, I am blown away by the kind of volume I'm seeing. You can see there across on the bottom right, the transaction volume both per minute and per second. And although the scale is quite small, the DMLs per section at the bottom of the screen, DMLs per second, is just off the charts. It is amazing how good the Oracle technology is, even on something that is what we call throttled with Express Edition. You can achieve incredible workloads just with this 100% free version of the Oracle database. While this benchmark is running, I can bring up Task Manager under Windows and actually see what the actual PC is doing. And you can see that the throttling facilities that are available in Express Edition to make sure you don't go over its limits are in play here. The machine is only running at less than 50% utilization. And that's a reflection of the fact that we are limited to a certain number of cores for Express Edition. But as you can see, if I'm doing 2,000 transactions per second, that's an incredible amount of workload you can do on such a small and simple machine. You can let this benchmark run for as long as you want. I'm going to kill it off now such that we get the summary report that Swingbench gives us. And if we look at the summary report, you can see we got some absolutely breathtaking results on this stock standard PC, stock standard installation of Express Edition, and using Swingbench as a transaction generator. So if you've got nicely written applications and cheap hardware for 100% free database, you can achieve a whole stack of departmental applications out of the box with the fantastic Express Edition on Windows. So yes, Express Edition does have limits on storage, but the reality is, in terms of the ability to conduct workload, the ability to get transaction throughput, for so many of your applications, I think you'll find that Express Edition, a 100% free database, is going to be more than adequate to get the workload requirements done. It's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about it. See you soon.